Hello, my friends. I am here with Kari. Say hello, Kari.
Hello.
We are talking about Game Master tips for
Darktide's Night.
Yes, a creepy little scenario.
Darktide's Night happens, on Darktide's Night.
That's a great Halloween module.
Yeah, a great intro. The troupe is making their way along a road when they notice that the clouds aren't moving. The mushrooms are opening up and then closing back down and opening back up and closing back down. And they're kind of stuck where time doesn't seem to be moving. The clouds aren't moving. The stars aren't moving.
And this is Darktide, which is a time of evil portents. So you want to establish that early on with the players, right? That this is a really scary night that everyone is afraid of.
As they're going along, this creepy old ghost appears behind them where they kind of notice it. It doesn't say anything. It just kind of points off to a trail on the side. Most players aren't going to want to go down a trail following a ghost, so they're going to try and ignore it. They'll continue walking. And as they continue walking, this is when they start noticing the clouds not moving. And then they find themselves coming back to the same area.
Same spot.
And again, as they turn around, the ghost is pointing there. Parties will sense evil. You know, we like paladins and clerics, and paladins and clerics like to destroy undead. And they're going to try, but as they approach, this thing just disappears. Again, as they turn around, it's going to be pointing. So the idea is it needs them to go down this creepy trail, and then you can have all kinds of creepy things happening, and there's some great options in the back. You can come up with some, but these things of, they feel cold icicles on the back of their neck, or they hear murmuring and they can't quite make out what it says. Just any sort of thing like that to really
on the breeze, which is barely moving, just slightly around them.
Yes. It should be a creepy feeling. And then they get to this tree house built into a tree. This tree house is decrepit, old, but there's some light glowing from inside of it.
The ghost. I should have shown it earlier.
Yes.
So there's the ghost. Yes. But now we have the tree.
The tree house. And there's some, as they approach, there is some flickering light coming out from it. Laying out in front of it is a cute little teddy bear.
Not that cute.
Everybody always picks up the teddy bear, though, and that's what you want him to do. But behind it is a door.
I think it's a creepy little bastard. That's what I think. But anyway, yes, there's a teddy bear, and on the door it says...
Only flesh.
Only flesh.
And why only flesh? And this is part of the mystery. This one has a little puzzles that the characters need to figure out. It's going to take them a while generally to figure it out. They don't usually figure it out until close to the end, and then they're retreating back to get stuff that they missed. But somebody's going to pick up the bear, and because they always do, because this thing looks like in perfect condition where the rest of this is run down. Why is there a bear here?
Except for the creepy red eyes.
They're glowing, they're reflecting. It's the light coming from inside.
Oh, it's the light reflecting. Yeah. Yes, from the back.
Well, but it has a pouch in it. Inside the back of the pouch, because it's like a puppet, is a little pouch with gems and some rolled up vellum.
Correct.
And if they examine the vellum closely, they can discover, this vellum seems to be made from some sort of skin.
Nasty.
But they're probably, because they're adventurers, they're going to take everything out of this pouch or out of this bear, including the bag of gems, and they're going to go inside because...
Well, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, so a door that says only flesh with a creepy teddy bear sitting in front of it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yes.
Ha-ha! I keep looking at this camera over here, but I think Camera Manny wants me to look at that camera over there. I'm not really sure, but I'm just looking. In fact, I'll look at that camera just for the heck of it. Ha-ha!
That's okay. I find myself doing the same thing. Yeah, I want to talk to that one. And I'm like, wait.
This is where she wants us, right there. Look.
So anyway, they're going to go in. More than likely, they have brought this bag of gems with them. Well, they're not supposed to bring the gems. They're supposed to only take flesh.
Only flesh.
So when they do that, they get this fun little ghostly spectral heads that float around.
Grim grinning ghosts go out to socialize. Ha yes.
And this is a combat encounter with some interesting twists, because there's also the gems turn into these little fireflies and bounce around. And these fireflies, when they hit you, they could damage you, they could heal you, they can damage the ghosts, they can heal the ghosts. So this gives a lot of weird dynamics into the combat.
I love those guys, by the way.
They're fun.
So, Kari, what happens if they take in the flesh but not the gems and leave them outside?
Well, then they've not disobeyed, so they don't have this combat encounter.
So they could have the ghosts actually materialize and say something like, "You have done well."
Yes. Or sit there and just kind of fly around and examine them, make it a little creepy, but not necessarily a combat encounter. But in this room also, there is another...
Almost everybody grabs the gems.
Everybody grabs. I've never had anybody not grab the gems. But I was going to say, there's also, in here, is more writing on the wall that says "Only Blood."
Yes. Yes, I should have shown that.
That's okay.
It's on the floor. Do you see it?
Yes.
Only blood.
And in here are some vials. And some of these vials contain blood, or what appears to be a blood. Other ones contain what appears to be healing potions. Again, they're going to take the healing potions because, of course, they are. They're not. Might not really be healing potions. We'll find out if they
look
actually
like
use
healing
them.
potions.
They look like it. They taste like it. Smell like it.
Yeah. If you're an alchemist, you think it is.
That's right. But then they go into the next chamber in this treehouse, where there is a sign that says "Only Bone."
Only bone.
And there is this key hanging over this chest. When they reach for the key, hand passes through it. This is a puzzle where they have to figure out how to get this key. There are a lot of hints in here that you throw out, but you want it to be very subtle. There are candles flickering in this room. Why are there candles? How are there candles? They haven't seen anybody. They haven't heard anybody.
Except for the ghost. And the ghost isn't lighting the candles.
Ghost doesn't need the candles.
Only bone.
But the candles play a very important part in the puzzle. Basically, the shadows showing them where the real key is. And of course, they have to take the right key.
What happens if they actually figure out the clues and actually solve them as they go through?
Well, that's actually good. It solves some things for them and makes it a little bit easier. The clues won't solve the puzzle.
Yeah, you won't be able to figure out what the shadows are. You got to figure that out with your own mind. It's not being given to you just because it says only bone.
But then when they open that chest, again, there's treasure in there. There's a sword in there. Mm-hmm. There is a circlet and some what look like hand bones, fingers all ground down to a point.
Nasty. But
again, they have to figure out how to open this chest. And to do that, they need the key. So even if
there's bad things that can happen if you try to open the chest, forcing it open and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's not the good move.
Yes.
And you can make it worse if you want to.
Absolutely.
Remember, it's always flexible.
But here, they're probably going to take something else because these are magic items.
Yes.
And somebody's always going to detect magic or just assume it's a magic item. It's this nice sword. They're going to take it. So as they leave this room, they feel claws scraping down their back. And those claws do damage to them. Yes. And they will continue to do damage each round until they return to the room and redeposit the items. It usually takes a couple of rounds for them to figure it out.
Because they can't fight it.
There's no fighting. And they're going, and most of them are like, well, I'm going to dash. Well, you dash. You feel the claw. You made it to the next room. The claw strikes again. And it doesn't do a lot of damage, but enough to get them a little
nervous. Yes, doggone right.
And they return back. A lot of times they haven't figured out by this time still that they need the bones out of the chest. And around the rest of the room are other parts of the skeletons, but missing the hands. Correct. So sometimes they'll take the wrong bones.
Sometimes. It's a good puzzle. But assuming they take the right bones.
Yes.
They end up here.
They end up in the next room. something on the wall that says "Only You"
Only
in blood.
you.
And there is
you.
I can't sing.
Don't sing. Never sing. You'll ruin the moment. But that was funny, cameraman. Tell the truth.
Going into this second room, there is what looks like a corpse hanging upside down, medallion hanging from its neck. Similar to the key in the last room where they can't actually grab it. They can't actually grab this thing. They're usually going to look, well, okay, I'm going to look around for the same solution
before, so
because they're like,
yes.
It's the same. But it's not the same.
No.
What there is, though, in this room is a book with names on each of the pages, written in a dark brown substance.
Red-brown, kind of a little bit brownish.
Yeah, a little
with a little tinge of
red, yes. But the pages are all full, so there's no room for them to write a name. This is where they need the vellum from the first thing to... Yeah. And when they put it into the book, it magically adheres. They need the vial of blood as something to write with. They need the sharp point of the finger bone. And they need to write their true name into the book. If you are in an evil time, Alphinius, and somebody asks you to write your true name into a book.
Oh, that's rough.
Into a magical book.
That's rough.
For Game Masters, if you're not in a convention, this is a great thing of they can't get out of here until they've written their name in blood.
They can beat the walls, they can kick the doors, they can thrash it, set it on fire,
Yes.
won't burn. They can't get out. They can't get out.
No, they've written their name in a magical book. That's usually a bad sign.
There's a lot you could do with that.
Yes.
Not expounded upon within the material.
Yes, it's just stuff that you can expand out of. But once they've done that, they've actually solved the puzzle. And in this case, time starts returning to
They've
normal.
actually saved the whole situation.
Yes, but this is where you can throw in some additional things. There are some of the NSREs. There's zombies that they can fight. There is also this big hulking figure in there, and just because they've solved the puzzle doesn't mean they're necessarily out of trouble.
Correct. You can throw more encounters
Yes.
at them for sure.
This is a unique adventure in the fact that there really isn't a big boss monster that they have to fight at the end. No. It's really all about the puzzle.
And you do have the maps?
Yes, we have some very nice maps. They don't look very big. These are to scale.
Correct.
Because this is a treehouse.
It's a treehouse.
And that means that
there ain't a lot of room, as they say.
No. And you may actually have it where not everybody can get into the room at one time. Mm-hmm. So to add a little suspense. And then some of the encounters, that same ghostly figure that they saw at the beginning, as they're walking, there is a walkway between the two sections, just a rope bridge basically across.
Oh, by the way, they can't jump off that either to escape. No escaping. They jump off, they find themselves back on the bridge. Right?
Yes.
Cannot get out until you
out.
solve the puzzle.
However, when they are on that bridge, or when they happen to look, if they want to peer outside or somebody, they can see that same ghost sitting there with a grin on their face.
Looking up at
yes.
Now, just to make sure Camera Mendy is taken care of, the tone, I don't believe we've answered this yet, but the tone of this, Kari, should it be really happy and fun like little rainbows?
Oh no, this should be creepy. This should be Halloween night in a haunted house.
Yes,
this one is really all about having the players feel a little bit creeped out, having their characters be extremely freaked out about everything that's going on.
Yeah, you can give a little roll for nerve,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
See if they start getting freaked out and start being the panicky loudmouth.
There's
about the panicky loudmouth?
Yes.
Made famous in Alien. Game over, man. Game over. You remember that?
Yes.
You had to be old.
There's also, though, this cool little table in the Dungeon Master Guide called the Temporary Madness table.
Yes.
Works really great when one of them starts babbling incoherently for the next 3 minutes.
Very fun. There's a lot of cool stuff in here.
Yes.
Now, wait, where is it? There it is.
Yes.
Yes, right here at the bottom. Darktide's night.
Yes.
But now, before we go, we're going to hear from Rin. is going to create a lot of problems for us, I'm sure. But she's going to give you a few tips, because she's run it more than her father. Ha ha! Come on, Rin. Let's go. Watch. When I snap my fingers, she will appear. Ha ha! So, Rin, you have run this creepy little adventure a few times?
Yes.
Give them a hint or two. Tell them what you think. What should they do first?
I mean, I just think when they're on the path, if they go, instead of going on the little path, if they just continue going forward, don't make it to where it's just you go there. Make it maybe interesting and how they got back there.
Add a little bit of stuff, right? Add a little bit of things here and there. Here's things they hear, things they see, maybe even in monster.
Yes.
Skeleton.
Yes.
Zombie. Walking Dead.
Okay, that one, yeah.
All right. So once they get to the treehouse, they're gonna grab the bear.
Yeah, the party I ran it with, and they grabbed the bear and everything else.
Everybody likes the bear. I had a game master tell me he had the bear talk to people. Literally had the bear. Hello, I'm Teddy. What's your name?
Once you've picked up the bear and moved inside with it, you can't get rid of the bear.
Right, you can't get rid of the bear, right? It keeps popping back even if you throw it out the window or whatever, right?
Yes, it'll just like, it'll the sun be in your bag or your hands.
In your pocket.
Yes.
Looking up at you going, hey, stop throwing me away.
Sometimes they'll struggle figuring out those clues.
Correct.
Because and you don't want them to sit there for an hour trying to figure out
it's
the first
terrible.
clue.
Boring.
Yeah.
It's awful.
You
agree with that?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
With the bear, if they're having trouble with figuring out the book, you could do what you said with, hi, what's your name?
Give them a hint.
And they maybe help them in that way. Just
yeah,
really subtle.
The bear could be a clue giver. What's your favorite part of the whole module?
It's probably when the gems in the bag aren't real gems. They turn into these bugs, and I feel like with that, you could make it to where they have like maybe a -2 to attack the ghosts, because they're distracting you.
Yes.
You're trying to swat them.
See that? Flexibility.
This one really, you generally don't need to speed up in any way. You actually probably usually, if anything, need to kind of slow it down a little bit.
Absolutely. What do you think? You think that's good stuff? What else would you do?
Maybe to lengthen it, there could be a little bit of role-playing, since that can make things a little longer.
Yes. Now I have another suggestion. This is my own. That ghost is always available. At the end, he could look them in the face and say, thank you. You have freed me. And now you shall suffer. Ha-ha! And he will attack. And then you can have a BBEG encounter of your own making right at the end. What do you think of that?
Yes, that works. We've also, some of us have run it where the tree gets up and starts walking away and everything starts shaking and they have to get out of the tree house. And then the tree can turn around and attack them.
Yes,
so,
you have the tree actually attack them.
Like as an ent, a tree ent or something, So definitely things that you can do to lengthen it out fairly easy. So the biggest pain point in this is trying to get your players to actually go down this creepy trail through the forest that's being pointed out by some sort of undead that they can't interact with. You may have to throw something into it to encourage them to get down there. Maybe they hear a what sounds like a child scream, and then they, as they're looking around, they can see footprints. They're not going to find a child. Mm-hmm. There's no child there, but something to encourage them. Players don't like a lot of times to be like, well, this is the only way to get out.
Pull.
Yeah. So
however, I do have a suggestion on that, because I like the ghost. I mentioned that earlier when I've run this before. Yes. I did have the ghost say, your time is nearly up. When the bell tolls midnight on Darktide's night, you will all die unless you do as I tell you. It's a railroad, but sometimes you get railroaded.
Yes.
Bad things happen.
Especially short adventures. You're in a convention type environment. Your players need to expect a little bit more of you're going to follow this path because...
Yeah, there's no way you can just be all over the place. I mean, you can, but it doesn't really make the adventure as nice.
Yes, no.
I think what you can do, kind of following along with the ghost, is have it say, like, kind of a go now in a rattly voice, kind of trying to be intimidating as, like, it is needing to be done.
Yes. Your time grows nigh. Do as I say, or your mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and you shall all die. And for all of you out there, it's available as a free download at gooeycube.com if you want to get it for free.
But it is a great intro to Gooey Cube because
Darktide's Night, yes.
it has all of the creepiness. It starts you start getting into a little bit of the lore with Darktide's Night.
Yes. Handouts,
Yes.
magic item cards, Gooey rewards cards, awesome maps, all of the stuff that we do.
Yes.
Darktide's Night. May all your adventures
Be
Be
sticky.
Ha ha!